Hey everybody, welcome to more week one in our brand new series we started this past Sunday, Questions from Jesus. This series is going to take us straight into our Easter services, which are just a couple weeks away, and I hope you're getting ready for that and excited about Easter Sunday, inviting people to join you at your location. You might be thinking that more, because we're answering questions from Jesus in the series, might just be some more questions. And that's not going to happen here, because starting this week, you'll find on our social media platform that some of our location pastors and family church pastors are going to be doing short 5-minute devotions online on our social media pages for you to be able to share and just enjoy some of those other questions. And so today what I thought I would do is just kind of continue the story that we were in on Sunday. If you remember, we were in Matthew chapter 16, and we were looking at this conversation that took place between Jesus and his apostles there in Caesarea Philippi. And that question, of course, that we asked, that Jesus asked was, who do you say that I am? From that moment where Peter made his great confession, if you continued reading, you would find out that Jesus next began to talk to them about his death and his resurrection. And I'm sure that was a moment for them, because in fact Peter took issue with it and kind of pulled him aside and said, "What are you doing? That's not going to happen." And Jesus had to rebuke him and tell him, "Peter, you don't understand." And then Jesus turns back to his disciples again and begins to talk to them about taking up their own cross, what it would cost for them to follow him. And then one of the most significant events in Jesus' earthly ministry takes place. And that's where I want us to focus our time today. We're going to begin reading in Matthew chapter 17 in verse number 1. And this is the story. After 6 days, Jesus took Peter, James, and his brother John and led them up on a high mountain by themselves. This is 6 days after the events that we looked at this past Sunday. It says he was transfigured in front of them, and his face shone like the sun. His clothes became as white as the light. And suddenly Moses and Elijah appeared to them, talking with him. Then Peter said to Jesus, "Lord, it's good for us to be here. I will set up 3 shelters here, one for you, one for Moses, and one for Elijah." While he was still speaking, suddenly a bright cloud covered them, and a voice from the cloud said, "This is my beloved Son, with whom I am well pleased. Listen to him." When the disciples heard this, they fell face down and were terrified. Jesus came up, touched them, and said, "Get up, don't be afraid." And when they looked up, they saw no one except Jesus alone. Of course, this is known as the Transfiguration, that moment where Jesus' glory is revealed to Peter, James, and John there on the mountaintop. Why did this happen? Well, I was reading some articles and some devotional thoughts about that, and I love this idea that the Transfiguration helps us better understand Jesus. See, it's in the story of the Transfiguration that we just read that we who are Christians declare that Jesus is beyond our reason. He is maybe all man in the scriptures, but he is all God. He is not like us. He's not just another prophet. He's not just a good teacher. He's not just someone who came and made an effect on the world. He is altogether different. And the Christian faith, our faith, has always struggled to kind of put into words ever since what this Transfiguration is all about. And it really is just this incredible story that gives us some framework that we can put our Christian theology on. Because in Jesus, we beheld the glory of God. God working and acting in our lives, in our humanity. So I want to just pull out a few quick thoughts for you, and then allow the questions to kind of guide your discussion and your time together, whether that's alone, through a personal time of devotion and meditation, or in a small group. First of all, the Transfiguration helps us better understand God. The story of the Transfiguration is the story of the divinity of God being shown in and through the humanity of Jesus. God is seen, in other words, in the person of Jesus working to reconcile the world to himself. There on the mountain, Jesus is transfigured, and God is revealed in the person and the work of Jesus. not just in the things that happen to Jesus, but in what Jesus says and does. It is a powerful moment where God is revealed in the flesh of Jesus. I think also a second thing I would say is the Transfiguration helps us better understand our world, the world that we're living in, our Christian faith, and how we are tied as humans to the community and the world around us. God was made visible in the flesh of the humanity of Jesus, affirming that our earthly lives can be touched by eternity. There's something about God's creation and God coming together in the person of Jesus, showing us in this world the power of God in and through us. The next thing I would say is this. The transfiguration story rather helps us understand our Christian faith. It helps us better understand how we are connected to Jesus, because in him we beheld the glory of God. All the things that we've read, all the things that we know, give us a greater understanding of Jesus because of that moment. When we think about the story of the Transfiguration, it is in many ways Jesus giving confirmation to Peter, James, and John as eyewitnesses to the things that they had confessed, or Peter specifically had confessed, in Matthew chapter 16. It is confirmation that when Jesus asks, "Who do you say I am?" and Peter answers, "You are the Messiah, the Son of God," or the Son of the living God, that Jesus now shows, yes, you are correct. I am not Elijah. I am not one of the other prophets. I am God in the flesh. And I think in some ways, there's a lesson for us to learn as well. That when we have these incredible moments in God's presence, these mountaintop experiences, they don't last. They're powerful moments, they're important moments, but what they do is allow us to continue to journey forward in our life, not to stay there in that moment, but to learn, to grow, to increase our faith, so that as we keep moving forward through trials and tribulations, through joys and sorrows, we know that he is with us and he is for us. Take some time to look at the questions that will follow. Spend some time in Matthew 17, or maybe the verses just preceding that at the end of chapter 16. And then we will come together again next week after week 2 in our new series, Questions from Jesus. Can't wait to see you then.